Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin. I like to make costumes. Although today I'm just going to show you how to make a simple scrunchie. So you can make your own scrunchie or make them for friends, for gifts or something. These are great. So I'm going to show you using the Burrito Method. And I'll walk you through each step of that. I'm going to do it in real time just because it's really fast to make them this way. And it gives them a nice professional clean finish. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, what you will need for this project is, of course, the fabric that you wish to use, elastic. I did get this from the dollar store. It's probably better if you go to a fabric store. It'll just be better quality, but we'll use this for now. Scissors, a ruler, and possibly a pattern, and of course your sewing machine. Now my pattern I found online. It's 4 inches wide by 22.5 inches long, and this is cut 1 right side up. I also marked for ease the elastic, so the elastic will be 10 to 10.5 inches. Depending on what I want to do. I tend to do 10.5, and then that accommodates for the knot, and then I can trim it if I need to. So just to make it easier, I don't have to use a ruler. Just come here. Not stretching the elastic. All right, now we're going to cut out the pattern. I'm going to iron the fabric first and then cut out the pattern. All right, so we'll put the elastic aside for now. We're going to lay out our fabric with the wrong side facing up, just because I am going to mark on it. All right, so my pattern does not contain seam allowance in it, so we're going to trace it out and then add the seam allowance. However, just to make it easier, I'm just gonna, this piece looks pretty square. I'm just gonna set the one corner of my pattern into the corner of the fabric. And I'm just gonna weigh it down, and then I'm gonna trace out, including the 1/2 inch seam allowance around it. Use a ruler. And just line up your pattern with where you want to put your seam allowance right there, okay? And then I'm just gonna draw that line, and that's where we're gonna cut. You can add more seam allowance if you're worried, or if you wanna make it bigger, you can make your pattern bigger. All right, so I'll just line up my ruler like this. So this is the end of the pattern. This is the seam allowance in here, and then I'll draw a line there. So I've done that. Then there's my line. Very faintly, I did it in gold so it wouldn't transfer through. Then we're gonna cut that out. Alright, now we've got it cut out. Now I'm going to flip it over to the right side. I'm going to bring ends together, and I'm going to sew a seam here at a 1/2 inch. Alright, you would want to use matching thread, but so that it shows up and you can see everything I'm doing, I'm going to use a cream colored thread that was already on my machine. All right, so we're going to sew at a 1/2 inch, back tacking at when you start, and back tacking when you end. We're going to press that seam open. You don't have to. I've seen other people just finger press it open. That way you don't have to leave your sewing machine. You just finger press it open and then go on to the next step. But I'm just gonna press it open quickly. Just keeps it nice and flat, and then we'll go back to our machine. Okay, once you've sewn that seam and then either finger press it open or used your iron to press it open, you're gonna have a piece that looks like this when you fold it with this in the center, with your seam in the center, sorry. We're gonna flip it over, and we're gonna take these two edges of fabric. We're just gonna roll them up as small as we can, and then we're gonna pull this piece up to match our other seam right there. And then this is where we're gonna start sewing. Okay, so I'm gonna start a little bit before the seam. So we're going to sew back tack, and we're gonna continue to sew. The main thing to keep an eye on, especially if you're working with maybe a more narrow piece of fabric or something slippery, is you're gonna wanna make sure that you don't catch this part of the scrunchie in this stitch line. Sometimes it can be trickier than others. This fabric is it's behaving very well, but not all of them do. So that is what you mainly wanna watch, but you're also gonna pull down here as you move through, and then just make sure that that fabric isn't getting caught in your seam. So I sew until a point that it feels it's bunchy, and then I'm gonna pull this. Through like that. And I'm gonna make sure there's nothing there. All right, we can continue sewing. All right, now we're at a bunchy part again. All right, now we've got all that fabric in there. I'm just gonna shove it in. All right, make sure. Now we're getting close to our beginning seam. So all right, there we go. All right, so that's where we began. You can leave a really small opening for this. It just has to be enough that you can flip the whole scrunchie through. So and if you put tags in your items, this would be a nice spot to do it, or you could start with your tag inside in there and then start sewing. So I'm just gonna go about there, like an 1.25 inches, an 1.5 inches opening, but leave as big as an opening as you think you need, if that makes sense. Okay, back tack to secure your stitch, pull it out. Now we're going to trim all our threadies because we don't like all these threadies hanging out. It's gross. All right, now this is the item that we have now. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our elastic. There is a tool I've seen people use that your elastic can kind of sit in and you just guide it through. I don't have that, so I'm just going to use my tweezers. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to this part of the opening of the elastic. You're just going to weave the elastic through until you get to the other side here. All right, then pull your elastic through so that it's sitting like this. All right. Then I'm going to take these two pieces. I'm going to tie them together. That was a messy, messy tie, but you get it, you get it. We're gonna pull it tight. I'm gonna leave the tail. This is what we have now, and now we can start to flip it to the right side. All right, so we're gonna go to that 1.25 inch opening that we had, or however big it was, and then you're just gonna start feeding it back through. Comes out. All right, now we've got all that. And there's our scrunchie. It's quite nice. All right, now we're still left with this little opening here. You can slip stitch this close, which is very nice, and it'll make it all look even. You can also just put this under your machine and top stitch it closed, which is what I'm going to do. All right, so ideally you would have matching thread to make this look nice. All right, trim our threadies. And this is our scrunchie. It's quite nice. It's got some good pull there. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, let me know. But until the next time, have a happy holiday, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Hi everyone. Those with me. I like to make costumes. Why am I doing this? There's cats on it, so that's perfect. It's the burrito family or something? No.